We're going to bring in now Samantha Guerry, a longtime friend of Dr. Ford, who was in high school with her. Thank you for joining us this morning. Ms. Guerry, I know you've been in contact with Dr. Blasey Ford over the last week or so. How are her spirits? Is she ready for today?
She's ready. She's been spending some time alone, getting centered and collecting her thoughts. But when she shows up today, she will be completely cooperative and ready to tell her truth.
In her prepared testimony, she says she's terrified.
Yeah, of course. I think anybody in their right mind would be terrified, but she's not going to let the fear stop her. She's really determined. She's fierce, she's smart, and she is going to follow through.
Did you know anything about this incident or any incidents like this at the time?
I did not know about this incident at the time. I learned about it along with the rest of us.
And Dr. Blasey Ford never spoke with you about it before these last few weeks?
She didn't speak to me. She did talk to a couple of, at least one of our mutual close friends for counsel. It's something that she wrestled with, and you know, since this has all come to pass, I think with good reason, but she did feel that it was her duty to bring this forward, despite the potential for her to be in this kind of position.
And yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. When she first sent this letter to her member of Congress, Anna Eshoo, that was passed on to the Senate, she called the Washington Post tip line anonymously. She didn't want her name to come out. What do you think happened over the past several weeks that made her decide, yes, I've got to be public?
Well, I'm not sure she wanted to be public. I think that her letter was leaked, and people started showing up at her house. You know, she could feel that this was upon her, and I think very sensibly decided that the best thing to do at that point was to come at this head on and be forthright and follow through on what she started. One
of the things you're starting to hear from Senator Orrin Hatch and others is that Dr. Ford may be mistaken about who assaulted her back in high school. And now we've seen some reports overnight that two men may have gone to the Senate Judiciary Committee saying, wait a second, it might have been me, not Brett Kavanaugh. Do you think that's possible?
It's not possible. I don't know where they found these people, but she knew Brett, and she knew who she was dealing with. She knows exactly what happened, and she will tell her experience today.
Did you know Brett?
I did, not well. He was friends with several close friends of mine.
And as you started to hear all these stories, and now we have 3 accusers publicly, what's been your reaction?
Well, you know, I think I've been appalled most of all. I'm not, you know, as I've said, I can't really comment on Brett Kavanaugh's character. I don't remember him well enough. But I certainly, when his name first came out, I thought, oh, you know, I remember him. But you know, that culture, that boys' school culture is very dismissive of women oftentimes, and there are certainly groups of people who attend those schools who behave the way we've heard they behave in the last few weeks.
Talk a little bit more about that. You went to Holton Arms, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Talk about that culture in the private schools in Washington, D.C. in the 80s. Were those the kind of parties that happened?
Sure. You know, there were a lot of parties. At that time, the drinking age was 18. There were a lot of parties that, you know, there was too much drinking, oftentimes unsupervised, teenagers, you know, getting involved with each other in a variety of ways. Some of the allegations have come forward recently in terms of sort of this systematic rape culture. I'm not sure that's something that I was aware of. If I had been, I think I'd remember. But there's certainly, you know, a lot of things you hear about with the yearbook references and this sort of jocular tendency for these young men to brag about their conquests and to treat women as objects was certainly something that you saw. But it certainly wasn't all of them either. There were a lot of good men who went to Georgetown Prep and landed in these other schools, and it's just unfortunate for everyone that there were enough of them that were behaving that way, that these things are what we remember and what we're talking about right now.
Final question. Do you think Dr. Ford is prepared, as she goes before the entire country today, that maybe she won't be believed, or that even if she is believed, Brett Kavanaugh is going to get confirmed anyway?
You know, she's been very focused on getting through today, and I don't think that she has been thinking too much about what happens tomorrow. But regardless of what happens, and what I think she doesn't realize is that she has already made a huge contribution to our national discussion of how women are treated when they talk about their experience of sexual violence. And that is just, sexual violence is endemic in our country. I think that's becoming more clear as we have this conversation together. And I think this process that we've been going through, particularly the last week as we prepare for this hearing, is really exhibit A of all the problems that women encounter when they bring these stories forward. There's a good reason why women keep this a secret, and I think we can all agree that the way this has been unfolding is a good example of why.
Samantha Guerry, thanks for sharing your thoughts this morning.
Thank you.
Robin?
And again, you'll have live coverage of the hearing, 10 a.m.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.